Am I the asshole for kicking my mom out of my house after she called my wife trashy? My mom came over recently to meet our 6-month-old son. My wife asked my mom to help her out by putting our son's laundry in. Now, we come from very different families, and I know she offended my mom. In my mom's world, you don't ever ask a guest to do something like that. In my wife's family, they're very close. A bit suffocating at times, to be honest, and everyone pitches in. For example, if we stay with my wife's family, we are given chores. If we stay with my mom, we are waited on like guests. I could tell from my mom's face she was furious, but she said okay. Her boyfriend went into the laundry room with her and was like, "What the fuck? Why would she ask you to do that? Why are you doing it?" My mom said she just doesn't want to fight with me anymore. Her boyfriend was like, "Okay, but to be clear, if my mom came over, would you ever ask her to do work?" My mom said, "No, I'm not trashy." I saw red and immediately stepped into the room. I said, "How dare she call my wife names in our own home?" My mom tossed the things at me and said, "Good, I can wash them, as it isn't her house and she did not choose to bring our son into the world." I said she crossed a line by calling my wife names in our own home. I told her to get the fuck out. And she isn't half the woman my wife is. My mom told me we are both trashy and she is done with us. My grandparents were furious when they heard and chewed me out for being entitled. Entitled? Why is mom drama always the worst drama? And why is there so much of it? There's so much mom drama on Reddit. I could just do mom drama stories. Moms of the world, I appreciate the juicy content, but I feel bad. A couple of things that the OP didn't really spend any time on, but I feel like need to be addressed are: his mom said it wasn't her choice to bring the baby into the world. Is it just me, or is she saying in this that she would have chosen not to bring the son into the world? Like she doesn't give a shit about the kid because she doesn't like the mom? Or maybe it was because the son was okay with it and that makes him trashy too. Is it trashy to ask guests to do something? That's a cultural thing. There are probably a myriad of factors involved with, is this a situation where you ask your guest to actually do something to help or don't you? If it's somebody that you're around often enough to be really comfortable with and you don't think they'll be offended by asking for their help, then by all means ask for their help. But it's also one of those unspoken things where some cultures just don't do that kind of thing. For instance, if we're at my in-laws and I see that the trash is full, I'm gonna take the trash out because I feel like that's the right thing to do most of the time. They don't ever ask me to do that. There are times whenever my father-in-law will ask me to help him lift something or to help him do something that he can't do on his own. I'm the son-in-law. That's my job. I did shoot him in the thumb with a nail gun once. We won't talk about that. I love the dynamic that I have with my in-laws. But on the other hand, you know, if this were at my house and it were my mom there and my wife asked my mom to do something, my mom would do it because she would want to be helpful. I guess a huge factor here is what kind of person your mom is in general. If your mom is the kind of person who doesn't like to be treated like an equal, like she's got to be given some kind of esteem, like she's some kind of fucking regal, then yeah, I can see her getting pissed at that kind of thing. Saying trashy is trashy. You know what I mean? Like saying that your wife is trashy, it's very stinky. You knew that a line had been crossed and you knew the right thing to do was stand up and defend your wife and defend your household. Your mom clearly didn't take that well. And her boyfriend fed into this kind of thing. So he understands what kind of person she is and was offended by it as well. They seem like very fancy people who don't like to do chores of any kind. It must be a family cultural thing because your grandparents were furious as well. And either they caught a very tilted version of the story from your mom or they just feel the same way. If that's the case, you're on your way to being excommunicado with your family. And maybe that's okay. Not the asshole, dude. I don't know what to tell you about how to handle your family moving forward, but you drew the line. Now it's just a matter of sticking to it.